Hello.
Then, now,
Bow down to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, and welcome to episode number 106 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for Raw for February the 10th, 2025. Yes, we're still in February. You know, I'm sure we'll lock in the next couple of weeks, but I've been a combination of busy playing, 2K25 because it came out, and just a little bit burnt out, but, I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. I've got motivation, Mania is on the horizon, and yeah, we're getting right into the thick of a lot of shit that I've been brewing for a long time, so yeah. Including tonight, which will feature 2 Fatal 4-Way matches for the Iron Survivor Challenge qualifiers. The first match will open the show. It's Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Bronson Steiner, and Trick Williams. And the second will main event the show, which is John Cena, Jay White, LA Knight, and Montez Ford. We also have something else definitely announced for tonight that I can't remember because it's been a while since I booked it in. But, yeah. Without any more further ado, though, let's jump straight into the show. The show kicks off with Cody Rhodes coming to the ring. He's in his gear, ready for his opening match tonight. And he comes to the ring and he says, "So, main, what do you guys want to talk about?" He says, Last week was an interesting week, to say the least. Last week, I got to stand toe-to-toe, face-to-face in this ring with somebody who I have a lot of respect for, but also one of my greatest rivals in history of this company, that being the Royal Rumble winner, Seth freaking Rollins. Now, Seth, as I said last week, he won the Royal Rumble that entitles him to the main event of WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. But I needed to let Seth know what he was in store for. Should he, think with his heart over his head and choose to challenge CM Punk at WrestleMania, because Punk, this antidote, this cure for the poison that he's created here in WWE over the past few months, it's only growing stronger with a guy like Bronson Steiner back in his ranks. I'm not sure that any one man has what it takes to take down CM Punk and this antidote, but Seth, I want to make one thing perfectly clear about last week in case there was any confusion. Whatever you decide to do with your Royal Rumble victory and your World Championship match at WrestleMania 41, I will stand by you and I know you will make the right decision. You have until Roadblock to make that choice, Seth, and I advise taking as long as you want to make sure you get yourself prepared and think about if this is what you really want to do. Because if you don't, Seth, I know a hell of a lot of people that will want to step in and take that swing. That's when Chad Gable comes out. And he goes, "Cody, you're out here again, preaching to this crowd like some sort of politician. We've heard it all before, Rhodes. Okay, let's see who I see in this ring right now. I see a man who lost to Cody Rhodes back at SummerSlam, a man who put the WWE Championship in the hands of CM Punk to begin with. I also see a man who failed to win that championship back at the Royal Rumble. So, Cody, what gives you the right and the authority to stand out here and tell a guy like Seth Rollins what he should do? Okay, you are the cause for all of this around here. I don't think you should have a say in how it comes to an end. Because, Cody, let's be real. Ever since he came back to WWE and you came back to WWE, you haven't beaten CM Punk. You know who has? Chad Gable. So, You want to talk about Seth Rollins this, Seth Rollins that, Cody Rhodes this, Cody Rhodes that. I think you're overlooking the true savior of Monday Night Raw, and that's me. Cody goes, Chad, listen here. For many, many years, a lot of people watching this television program have touted you as a superstar. They said that Chad Gable, he's incredibly underrated, and if given the opportunity, he could be a top star here in WWE, and that's why that Money in the Bank briefcase sits in your hand right now, because you took that opportunity back at Money in the Bank. But Chad, this is WrestleMania, this is the antidote, this is us, the future of WWE as it stands in jeopardy. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but it wasn't too long ago that you were bodying up to CM Punk and trying to mend fences with CM Punk because you didn't think we were the right side of history. So, Chad, I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the enthusiasm and you stepping up, but this just is not your fight. And Ciampa goes, no, Cody Rhodes, this is not your fight. Okay? I'm talking to somebody who's lost every single chance he gets to CM Punk. If you were the man who goes to WrestleMania to wrestle CM Punk again, he'll just beat you for a third time and we'll be right back where we started. But sure, keep running your mouth and you love hearing the sound of your own voice. You sure do sound motivational and inspiring when you say these words, Cody. It's just whether or not you actually believe them. And Gable walks out. And Cody sort of looks a little bit rattled, like, after Chad Gable leaves. But he has got a match coming up next. It is the 4-way qualifier for the Iron Survivor Challenge. And it gets a 98. Sure. That's pretty, I say sure to a 98. Like, that's not fucking 2 ratings away from the best possible ring in the game. And it is Cody who does come out on top. He manages to put Trick Williams down at the Crossroads in 20 minutes and 11 seconds. 93 for Cody, 98 for Gunther, 86 for Bronson Steiner, and a 75 for Trick Williams. So yeah, the first male competitor in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge has now been officially confirmed, and it will be Cody Rhodes, the former WWE champion, looking to get another shot at a world championship at WrestleMania this year. He took the championship into WrestleMania last year. Of course, the year before that was the year he finished the story. Can he make it at 3 in a row for World Championship matches at WrestleMania? We'll find out at Roadblock. But first, we do see Seth Rollins backstage, and he's just watching. He doesn't say anything. Seth Rollins hasn't said a word since he came back in the Rumble yet. And like he just stands there watching Cody's match when he's approached by 2 very familiar faces. Damian Priest and Buddy Murphy come up to Seth. And Priest goes, look, obviously, you, me, Buddy, all together. This is bringing back a lot of memories, but this isn't the time for a reunion, Seth. We just want to let you know that everything that Cody Rhodes has said is true. This antidote is dominating Monday Night Raw as we live and breathe. We don't want to admit it, but last week we got our ass beat by 2 guys who used to be underneath us. And we're kind of lost right now. But Seth, we know you better than anybody else on this roster. We know you've got what it takes inside you to beat CM Punk, if that is the option you want to take at WrestleMania. So when it comes to you and this fight against Punk and the antidote, you could say that we pledge our allegiance. And Seth sort of just chuckles and walks off without saying anything. We then cut back. We see Lyra, Bird Girl, walk into her locker room, and we just see she walks in. She goes, "Hey," and Becky's just deep in the middle of reading, and she goes, "I said hey," and Becky just puts her hand up and clicks her fingers and gestures for Lyra to sit down. She goes, "What's so important?" Just, "Bird Girl, have you read these rules?" She goes, oh, is this for the Iron Survivor Challenge? She goes, yes. Okay, I thought the days of the championship scramble were long gone, and that the one we did back at High Voltage on ECW was a one-off return, but this makes the championship scramble look like a singles match, Bird Girl. There's a penalty box. Did you know there's a penalty box? Like, I did, actually. I've seen the match in NXT multiple times before. But he goes, well, this changes everything. Because see, when you qualified last week, Bird Girl, I was going to suggest that in the match at Roadblock, you and I work together to take everybody else out, and then you lay down and let me pin you, so I go to WrestleMania. But you can't really do that in this convoluted ass format. Okay, I need to take that up to the Heartbreak Kid, because he made this shit. Okay, and now he's putting my WrestleMania moment in jeopardy. And I goes, well, you should just try winning. But he goes, I will try winning. And I'm going to. It's just going to be a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Then we hear a knock on the door. But he goes, who could that be? Come in. And the door opens, and Billy and Kelly are back. They walk in and go, hey. Becky's like super excited to see Billy. She rushes over and gives her a big hug. She goes, oh my god, my star girl, it's so great to have you back. Are you okay? Got any lingering injuries? Did you see the culprit who did it? And Billy goes, well, no, they had a mask and they hit us from behind, so no, we didn't. He goes, well, I'm so glad to have you back. Bird Girl has been talking my ear off these past month and a half, and I couldn't stomach it any longer. And in the background, Lyra and Kelly just sort of chatting, like, hey, yeah, hi, welcome back. He goes, anyway, we're getting to the bottom of this situation, okay? Because we've narrowed it down. We believe we know it's still that Cora and Roxy. Okay, they keep telling us no, but we keep saying yes, it is. My deductions cannot be incorrect, Stargirl. He goes, great. So we're going to get him? Kelly goes, Becky's like, well, last week we actually defeated Thing 1 and Thing 2 to earn a shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships, I guess. Yeah, we got our place in the Iron Survivor from winning it, but because we pinned the champion, surely that doesn't make us next in line, right? And Becky's like, I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me. But I hear that Thing 1 and Thing 2 are ducking us. They're going over to ECW to wrestle these Jersey Devils tomorrow night. But I just had a thought. Whoever ends up being the tag team champions, whether it be Thing 1 and Thing 2, or whether it be Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville, we get our tag team championship shot at Roadblock. And my star girl, Kelly, after what you've been through the last month, I believe you two should get the opportunity to become the women's tag team champions. Billy and Kelly sort of look at each other and go, great, sure, yeah, let's do that. And Lyra just sort of pops in and goes, alright, yeah, I see. But he goes, what? Just, you're going to have Billy and Kelly win you the women's tag team championships. Becky just scoffs and goes, Bird, why would you be so rude? No. Billy and Kelly will win the tag team championships and they'll earn the tag team championships. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm in the Iron Survivor. I'm going to win that. But, first and foremost, we're all together again. The Misfits are all back together once and for all. It's time to get back out there. I'll go talk to Bobby Roode and I'll get us a tag team match set for later on tonight. Come, girls. And she orders them out. Billy and Kelly immediately follow her. And Lyra sort of just shakes her head and goes, sure. We then cut back to Gorilla. Stephanie Vickers in their championship. And Tay and Paxley approaches, because they have a tag team match coming up next against Tegan and Piper. And Stephanie goes, this tag match, just do as I say out there. Tam goes, you remind me of her. That reminds me of her. And I need that back. Stephanie, that championship, that's my only friend. So tonight, I'll put on the brave face and I'll play with you to take care of Tegan and Piper once and for all. Get them out of my hair, get their eyes off my friend. And then I'll bring her home. Stephanie goes, okay, well, as long as we win the match tonight, I'll consider giving you another shot. And then they leave for the match. 84, we'll take that. Stephanie did carry, though. It's fine. But yes, Tegan and Piper do defeat Stephanie Vicker and Tatum Paxley in tag team action. So what happens is, Stephanie hands the championship over to the ref. He takes it over to ringside, he puts it in the timekeeper's area. And then, as the match is going on, Piper sends Tatum to the outside, and Tatum gets Stephanie on the outside. When she looks over and she sort of spots the Odyssey Championship just sitting over there. And she sort of picks it up and starts looking at it, holding it. Holding it over her shoulder, yeah, I'm gonna hold this shit soon. And Stephanie sees it, she's like, hey, what the fuck, put my belt down. As she's arguing with Tatum, she turns around and eats a Shining Wizard. So, yeah. Tegan Nox pins the Women's Intercontinental Champion here tonight. 75 for both Tegan and Piper, 88 for Stephanie, 73 for Tatum Paxley. Yes. So, yeah, nice little tag team match. And then after the match, there's just some arguing between Tatum and Stephanie. They get into a fight in the ring, and Tegan and Piper sort of just watch on laughing, hey, that's not us. Then cut backstage. Kathy Kelly is with Tiffany Stratton and the Blonde Barbies. And she says, Tiffany, you've requested this time here tonight, so what's on your mind? She goes, what's on my mind, Kathy? Usually, Tiffy time is on everybody's mind here on Monday Night Raw, but the last few weeks that hasn't been the case. Ever since the Royal Rumble where I came up short against Jade, a lot of people seem to forget who is the center of the universe and who this women's division revolves around. And that's me, Tiffy. So I just saw what happened out there, that Women's Intercontinental Championship and all that drama with Tatum and Stephanie and Tegan and Piper. I don't really care. Those girls could rip each other's heads off, and they do backstage because, it's all catty back there, Kathy. But the only thing that I care about is what's in the middle of it, that championship, because that championship, great-looking championship over the shoulder of Stephanie will be even better around my shoulder. Okay? I came close to winning that Intercontinental Climax. Came up short against Jade Cargill, but the third time will not come up short for Tiffy time. The third time will be Tiffy time. I don't know when or where, but soon I will be the Women's Intercontinental Champion. That's where Alexa just walks in. She stops and she just gives an icy stare at Tiffany Stratton. She goes, can I help you? You're sort of killing the vibe here. Alexa goes, yeah, actually. You say this brand revolves around you. Those are big words. So Tiffy time. I've checked my time and it seems your time is up. Because I was left in the shadows for far too long. Left out in the cold to wither away and die because of girls like you getting these opportunities. Now it's time to take a stand. Time to take action. I'm going to start with you. Tiffy goes, oh, is that a threat? Well, unfortunately for you, spooky ice bitch, you can't get to me because I have Emery and Mariah by my side, and you can't even beat either of them. And Alexa goes, fine, I'll face one of them next week, and when I beat them, I'll get to you next. Tiffany goes, sure, you can fight Mariah next week. And Mariah goes, what? Excuse me? She goes, come on, Mariah, you can do it for me. So yeah, Mariah May versus Alexa Bliss next week. We then cut back and we see Jada Parker and Nova Nebula in Bobby Roode's office. And Nova goes, what I'm saying is, last week, Cora and Roxy, they were doing this, they were buttering up to me, I guess because they want me to be on the Antidote's good side. But quite frankly, I don't care too much. I just want to get my chance opportunity back, and I got my chance to go to WrestleMania stolen because Cora Jade got her ass beat. Okay, so I don't think it's fair for me to be ridden out of this Iron Survivor Challenge because somebody else took a loss for me. And then Jada Parker goes, are you going to stop whining? Okay, I'm the hottest, fastest rising star here in the Raw Women's Division. That spot in that Iron Survivor Challenge needs to go to me. Okay, because I'm going to go to WrestleMania, my first WrestleMania, just 3 months after my debut and become the Women's Champion. And Bobby goes, enough. here's what we're gonna do. Nova, I understand your frustration. I hear your point. I am going to give you another opportunity to qualify for the Iron Survivor Challenge. Next week, we will hold a last chance, last place battle royal. You know, you, Cor, and Roxy will be in that match, along with the loser of the 4th Women's Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying match, which takes place tonight. And that's Jada. I'm glad you're here, because Bianca Belair has been looking for an opponent in that match, and I'm willing to give you the opportunity to prove that you are the future of the Raw Women's division by seeing if you can beat the present. So, Jada Parker, Bianca Belair, tonight. And don't worry, Jada, there is a last chance battle royal if you come up short tonight. So, there's still a chance for either one of you, or both of you, in fact, to make it to Roadblock. So, Jada Parker against Bianca Belair in the 4th Women's Iron Survivor Challenge qualifier tonight. And then the final will be determined in a battle royal next week. 90-rated match. Dijak and Wes Lee in their short feud that stemmed because Dijak didn't like that Wes Lee was smoking, you know, a sandwich backstage. And Dijak does pick up the win. He beats Wes Lee with Feast Rise in 14:05. Just a nice little fun TV feud, you know, because these two are not, like, factored into anything serious at the minute. So I was like, you know, just stick them together. What can they feud over? And I was like, Wes Lee, he's a rascal. You know, yeah. Just, so you need your silly little mid-card feuds every now and again to get some mid-carders on the TV show. It's fine. 92 for Wes Lee, 89 for Dijak. But yes, Dijak does pick up the win. We then cut backstage, and we see Axiom looking for Nathan Fraser. He goes, Nathan! And we hear Nathan Fraser sort of whisper, goes, psst, I'm here. And he like pops up from behind a crate, and he goes, what are you doing? He goes, well, you see, after last week, there's a big dinosaur chasing after me. And Nathan goes, Axiom goes, a big dinosaur? You mean Zergus? He goes, yeah, he's scary, you know. I almost wish he was a real dinosaur, because that'd probably be less intimidating than this big 7-foot guy in a dinosaur mask chasing after you. But I do think I kind of deserved it. And Axiom goes, yeah, you could say that. He goes, anyway, I've got a match with him tonight. And Axiom goes, you got a match against Zergus? He goes, yes, but hear me out. Okay. We proved last week that Path of the Dragon aren't the next number one contenders for the Tag Team Championship, which means we can get that shot. We can slide in there. It doesn't matter if Christian wants to be a lying little backstabbing wanker and go back on his word that he gave me, his blessing. We can win tonight. I can beat this big dinosaur, and then we can become the number one contenders for the Tag Team Championship. We haven't got to worry about Path of the Dragon ever again. And he goes, and you're sure about this? And he goes, as sure as I can be about wrestling a big-ass dinosaur. So yeah, Zergus and Axiom, Zergus and Nathan Fraser even, tonight. We then see a CM Punk video. Like, it's a CM, he's like sent a video in. Like, he's recorded a video on a promo on his phone, and he sent it in, because he's not there tonight, but we do need to hear from him. He goes, how's everything holding up over there since the Royal Rumble? I hope it's not falling apart in my absence. Well, tonight, I saw what Cody Rhodes had to say about Seth Rollins. I saw Seth, again, his silent treatment he's giving us all since he returned at the Royal Rumble. Here's the thing, Seth. I don't want to admit this because I don't want to be seen complimenting him or giving him any sort of credit on camera. But Cody Rhodes, he's right. You need to take as long as you need to choose who you want to face at WrestleMania, Seth. Seth, I understand you're full of piss and vinegar and you want to get back at big mean old CM Punk for everything he said about you and your wife and this company that you love so very dearly over the last 10 years. But Seth, you need to make sure you don't get too reckless. Okay? You're like a snake. Okay? A snake who he's getting a long time, he needs to start eating, and he sees a big ass elephant, and he thinks, I'm hungry enough to kill this elephant, I can eat this elephant, but he can't, because he's a snake, and it's an elephant, and that snake dies, jaws wide open, ready for war, trying to swallow down an elephant's asshole, because he just wasn't cut up for the job that he thought he was, Seth. That's like you. You can die on your sword, or you can accept another proposal. Now, I'm not suggesting at all that you and I should work together or that you should join my cause, because, quite frankly, I wouldn't care for you if you fell out of a building tomorrow. But for your sake, Seth, maybe go challenge Bobby Lashley. Maybe go challenge Warden. Because this goes way further on than me saying a couple of bad things about you and this company 10 years ago. You think you've got this thing all sorted out. You think you've got my motivations all figured out. But you don't. You don't know Jack. Seth, let me put this to you nicely. You're still a lost little boy. You're still that little kid, Colby, who I helped train all those years ago. Bright-eyed, looking for his big moment in the sun. But if you choose this fight, Seth, even I will have no sympathy for you. And even I, despite how much I will enjoy doing it, will kind of feel bad watching you throw this opportunity and, quite frankly, your entire career away because you tried once again to be the hero. But then cut back. Gunther, he's angry. The Ring General, he's raging backstage, and he goes, my Ring General, calm down. Okay, tonight wasn't our night. Tonight wasn't our night. And Gunther goes, no, I know tonight wasn't our night. Neither was the Royal Rumble. Okay? All those months ago, when I lost the WWE Championship after just 2 weeks, people called me a joke. People made a mockery of me for the first time in my career. And just as we started getting back on track, I was eliminated from the Royal Rumble by that goofball Daniel Bryan. I didn't qualify for the Iron Survivor. You know what that means, Ludwig? It means WrestleMania. WrestleMania is not on the cards for me this year. And Giovanni Vinci walks into the frame and he goes, damn, sucks to hear that, Gunther. You know, maybe last year when you had Imperium by your side, you managed to win the Royal Rumble and go to main event WrestleMania for the championship, but ever since you let that get to your head and Imperium fell apart, it's not looking good for the Ring General right now. And Ludwig goes, how dare you still get involved in the Ring General's business? Okay? You're lucky you're still walking after that stupid stunt you pulled at the Royal Rumble. And Vinci's like, stupid stunt? I was making my entrance for the match and Gunther was distracted by me and he got eliminated because his mind wasn't in it. How is that my fault? Gunther goes, hey, how dare you suggest such a thing? My mind has never been more in it. And I'm going to prove that next week when I put this little thing between you and I to rest for good. $77. We'll take that. Bianca Belair defeats Jada Parker with a KOD in 7:38 to punch her ticket to the Iron Survivor. So yeah, so 85 for Bianca Belair, 44 for Jada Parker. But of course, Jada's chances aren't officially dead because there is a last chance battle royal next week where somebody else can qualify She'll be in it, as will Roxy, Cora, and Nova, and then 6 other women who haven't had a chance yet. But yes, Bianca Belair joins Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Lyra Valkyria in the Iron Survivor Challenge for the women's side. And of course, on the men's side, we just know Cody Rhodes so far. Speaking of the Iron Survivor, we cut backstage and we see Bayley just watching that match. He goes, Bianca, my old friend. So you're not making it easy for me, are you, Bobby? Then Lyra walks in. She sort of just goes, hey, Bayley. They goes, hey, Lyra, right? And she goes, I think so. I don't even know at this point anymore. She goes, hey, what's up? She goes, I just wanted to talk about last week. You know, you teaming with me and Becky against Cora and Roxy and Nova. And you said you were doing that because you wanted to get even with Cora and everything that you and Cora have been through the past couple of years. You know, this is a woman who used to look up to you. You know, she used to look up to you as a role model. No pun intended. But, and now, you know, you're the most bitter of enemies and you're trying to rip her face off. You know. What, how is that all about? You know, how do we... What happened there? Bailey goes, you know, Lyra, you're still kind of new around here. So allow me to give you a little bit of advice. Even when you're very close to somebody, like I had Sasha, who was my best friend, she turned her back on me. Cora, who I was her idol, she turned her back on me, and everything else. You know, it's very rarely you can find somebody you can trust in this business. And if Cora, a sick part of me deep down is kind of proud of Cora, because Cora is now where I always knew she could be when she first stepped through these doors as a bubbly-eyed, baby-faced fan of mine. You know, I remember her first day coming to SmackDown. You know, she wasn't even employed by SmackDown. She just kept showing up backstage again, getting close to me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, in this business, you know you've really made it once your idols become your rivals. And Cora has gone from somebody who saw me as an idol to one of my fiercest rivals. And I still think that things between her and I aren't over just yet. So Lyra, you know, I see you and Becky right now, and I enjoy it. I'm kind of happy to see it because, you know, you have what I want. You have what me and Cora had. And it's just so nice to see, you know, somebody else to look up to. Because, yeah, you never know how long it could last. But you're in the Iron Survivor, right? You know, this is a big opportunity for you. Here's your chance for a World Championship match, your first World Championship match. Guess I'll see you out there. And she walks off, and Lyra goes, yeah, guess you will. We then cut back. Jada Parker is raging after a loss. She goes, no, you keep that camera right there, okay? So, Bobby, okay, I counter you with this big idea. You know, you put your hottest rising star, Miss Parker, in the Iron Survivor Challenge so I can get the opportunity to go to WrestleMania and become the Women's World Champion. And what's your great idea? Great idea isn't, sure, Jada, let's get that set up for next week. Give you some time to prepare. No, you stick me in there against the top babyface of this... I wouldn't say babyface, actually, yeah. The top franchise player of this women's division for the past 3 years. Yeah, throw her in there. You know, no preparation, okay, because that's going to work out well for her. Bobby, do you even want future top stars on your brand, or do you want to keep relying on the same old women time after time after time again? Because the way you're going about it, you're going to get the same old women time after time again because you're going to scare away the hottest rising star in the women's division from your roster. But it's no stress because we got this Battle Royal next week, right? Well, Jada Parker's in it and I want to win it. and I'm gonna win it. And I'm gonna go to Roadblock, and I'm gonna become the Iron Survivor, and I'm gonna go to WrestleMania and become the Women's World Champion. That's what we can just hear laughing from off camera. And camera pants and Mackie and J-Flo are there. And she goes, something funny? Something tickled your funny bone? And she goes, yeah. You saying you're gonna win the Battle Royal. And Jada goes, well, what's funny about that? It's true. Mackie goes, no, I'm gonna win the Battle Royal, and I'm gonna win Iron Survivor. Jada goes, no, I'm gonna win it, and I'm gonna toss your ass out on the way of doing it, and I'm gonna go to the Iron Survivor Challenge. I'm gonna pin Bayley 5 more times because that's the easiest thing in the world to do. And then Malcolm Bivens and Jade Cargill sort of walk into frame, and they both sort of just stop arguing. Jade goes, girls arguing about top girl business, big woman business. Bivens, and these two think they've got a chance at me. The only way you two have got a chance at me is if nobody else even shows up to the Battle Royal next week, which I wouldn't blame them. When the end goal is a chance to step into the ring with me, and you know you're going to lose, I wouldn't want to do that either. But next week, the baddest woman on this roster is going to toss everybody else over the top rope and earn that shot for the Iron Survivor Challenge. And I welcome whoever it is. Because whoever it is, they'll think they're bad. But they ain't Jade Cargill bad. $8 rating. Let's take that. Zergis and Nathan Fraser ends in a DQ. Zergis goes into an absolute rage and he starts attacking Nathan Fraser. And yeah, he gets disqualified. So yeah, Fraser does pick up the win technically over Zergis. But, you know, it doesn't feel like it as he's being pinned in the corner, just having this big dinosaur man rain punches down on him. 75 for Zergis, 71 for Nathan Fraser. After the match, Zergis continues the attack. Humberto and Tozawa come out and they try and restore order here. Axiom comes out. He tries to get Zergis off him. When we see up in the skybox, Christian Cage is just watching, and he's sort of laughing. And Axiom spots Christian up there, and he sort of points up at him. He goes, "Look at him." And Tozawa and Humberto look up at him, and they all sort of look at each other. And Axiom, Humberto, and Tozawa sort of back Zergis up, and they're like, "Hey, trying to calm him down and say that this is exactly what Christian wants. Christian wants to cause all this chaos in the division so that him and his children can still walk out with the tag team championships. Okay?" And then they sort of usher Zergis to the center of the ring and say sorry and apologize and shake his hand. And Zergis does offer the handshake out to Nathan Fraser. And Fraser sort of is like, "No!" And Axiom just slaps Nathan Fraser around the head and goes, "Nathan!" And then he reluctantly does shake Zergis' hand and then leaves to the back. When we get to the back, though, Nathan Fraser and Axiom, they're still arguing. He goes, "I didn't take it out there. Did you see what he did out there? I was trying to win that match and he got disqualified because, he's still angry at me. But, hey, I won. I beat a dinosaur in a wrestling match, mate. If that don't make us number one contenders, I don't know what would." And then Zergis and Humberto and Tozawa walk up, and Xia Li as well. And Zergis goes, "I spoke to Bobby Roode. Next week, 3 of us against the patriarchy." Nathan goes, "Well, hold on a minute, mate. First you try and take my head off out there, now you want to team with us." He goes, "I never said anything about teaming with you." And Axiom goes, "Nathan, relax." He goes, "I understand, your frustrations with my friend. But it's time we all put our heads together and, get to the bottom of this and take Christian out. Because once Christian and his children are out of the picture, then we can decide which one of us two is the best team. But first, it probably would be a good idea if we could borrow your dinosaur." Tozawa and Humberto look across at each other. They look up at Zergis. And Humberto goes, "Sure, you can team with Zergis next week." And Fraser goes, "A week of dinosaur sitting? Is there anything we've got to get him? What does he eat? assuming a big old raw meat. I've got to get him some of them to feed him. He liked Prime a lot for a little bit. Should I get him some more Prime? How do I hydrate him? And Zergish just sort of just growls at him and goes, "I'll see you next week." And he walks off. And then Humberto and Desire follow him off, and then he goes, "You see that? We're on Monday Night Raw teaming with a dinosaur in a tag team match. And if we win it, we're going to be next in line for the tag titles." Mental. I never would have expected this. What's the craziest thing you've ever done since you've been here in WWE, Axiom? And Axiom's like, "Well, I once helped a gang of nerds locate a lost evil pendant that turned the holder into an evil being, and then we destroyed it, and it contained the spirit of one of the members, and they've been in a coma ever since, and they've occasionally woken up and murdered people while being in a comatose zombie-like state, and they've been away for a while, so I'm actually kind of worried what they're up to while they're not around here, but I think the pendant and all of that ending of the world bullshit is over now." And Nathan Fraser just laughs and goes, "Yeah, fun times, huh?" 78. Becky and Co. defeat Club Venus in the 8-woman tag team match. It says Billy pins Victoria Shields, but what happens is basically Becky nails her with the manhandle slam. She tags her Stargirl into the match, and Billy just crawls in and gets the pin, winning the match for the team. 39 for Billy, 67 for Killer Kelly, 74 for Lyra, 90 for Becky, 52 for Kylie, 56 for Kenzie, 36 for Victoria Shields, and a 71 for Mina. So yes, our full group is together again. They are whole again. But after the match, Becky grabs a mic. Words you never want to hear. She goes, "We did it. I told you all of the Stargirls around the world that this was not the end, this was just the beginning. And now, we are at our full strength once again. And wouldn't you know, first night back on the job, my Stargirl wins this match for us. And with Becky Lynch and the Misfits earning an opportunity at the tag team champions by pinning Thing 2 last week, Stargirl, Billy, I believe you're up to the task. Whoever walks out of ECW as the tag team champions, you will be the tag team champions after Roadblock. And as for myself, Becky Starks is going to win that Iron Survivor Challenge. And I'm going to go on to WrestleMania. I'm going to survive all those convoluted rules and something by the penalty box that I'm never going to be in. And Jade Cargill, you want the baddest bitch on Raw to step up to you while you're looking at her. They don't come badder than me. And after that, with me as the Women's World Champion, and Kelly and my Stargirl as the tag team champions, we will all be champions here in the Misfits. Damn, life is good. Solving mysteries, winning titles, and just being damn awesome. It must suck to not be Becky Stardust right now. We then see Seth Rollins. Cavi Kelly approaches him. She goes, "Seth, I've been trying to catch you all night. We still haven't really heard from you since the Royal Rumble. Are you going to give us any hints on what the future holds for your WrestleMania plans?" And then, as Seth goes to speak, in walk ABC and Bronson Steiner. And Ace Austin's all disappointed and goes, "Seth Rollins, we've heard so much about you. Everything that you and Punk have been through over the years. He did mention you a couple of times in SummerSlam when, you took your ball and went home just like he did. That thing that he did that you were so critical of him for doing, leaving this place high and dry, that's what you did, Seth. So Seth freaking Rollins is a freaking hypocrite. But, us two, Bronson here, we're not here to hurt you. At least not right now. If you make the right decision, it'll stay that way. If you make the wrong decision, Bronson Steiner can cut you in half and rip you to pieces and make your life hell. Just ask Cody. And then Cody Rhodes walks in and he goes, why would he have to ask me? Okay? I'm right here. Last time I checked, last time I saw Bronson Steiner before the Royal Rumble, he was getting his ass drove off 20 feet high through tables by me. So if the big dog wants to bark, he's barking up the wrong tree, and he knows that. But Seth, ignore the words of these people. Listen to your heart. And he walks off. Next week, got a pretty big episode of Raw. Of course, we announced last week, that in 2 weeks' time at the time, so next week now, John Cena and Jay White will have their rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, one of these two men might be in the Iron Survivor Challenge, but only one of them will be because, they're in the same match coming up on our main event in a minute. But yes, Jay White, John Cena, Intercontinental Championship next week. Plus, a couple of matches have got announced heading into next week's show, including Fraxium teaming with Zergus against the Patriarchy. The Patriarchy complete of Christian, Dirty Dom, and Lexis King. Plus, Giovanni, Vinci, and Gunther one-on-one once again after what happened at the Royal Rumble when Vinci's presence, I guess, just distracted Gunther enough to get him eliminated. He wants to rip Vinci's head off and end this bad run of form. And it's a 10-woman battle royal for the final spot in the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. We know Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, Bayley, and Bianca Belair will be in that match, but here is the rest of the field. It's a pretty stacked lineup of names not yet announced. Nova Nebula, Roxy Perez, Cora Jade, Jada Parker, Tiffany Stratton, Mackie, Tegan Knox, Piper Niven, Tatum Paxley. There's still one spot left open there that we don't quite know the identity of who's in that yet. And Alexa Bliss, back in action on Monday Night Raw. She takes on Mariah May. Moving on to Roadblock. Now, we've got no officially fully announced matches set right now, but we do know some of the field for the Iron Survivor Challenges. On the women's side, we know the aforementioned 4 women in that match: Becky Lynch, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, and Bianca Belair, with next week's Battle Royal winner rounding out the field. And on the men's side, we only know one participant now, that's Cody Rhodes. We're going to find out the second Raw participant later on tonight. We're going to find out ECW's tomorrow night, and then SmackDown will announce their qualifiers on Friday. So yes, the lineups for the Iron Survivor Challenge is coming along quite nicely, heading into Roadblock. 87. Okay, I picked the wrong 4-way to main event, but this one just felt right, because it's the John Cena one, and, for what it's worth, the finish. But Jay White is the man who advances to the Iron Survivor Challenge. He pins LA Knight. After LA Knight drops Montez Ford for BFT, he goes for the pin, but Logan Paul pulls the referee out, and he laughs at LA Knight. LA Knight gets all pissed off. He gets in Logan Paul's face, and Logan Paul drops him with that titanium right hand. LA Knight gets picked up, Blade Runner, and Jay White picks up the victory. He will be in the Iron Survivor Challenge alongside Cody Rhodes on the Raw side. 78 for John Cena, 92 for Jay White, 88 for LA Knight, and 84 for Montez Ford. Yeah. But after that, there is a post-credit scene. Eagle-eyed viewers earlier on, I'm sure there might already be a comment as you're live commenting, will notice that Finn Balor was listed for the women's segment, where Nova and Jada were arguing in the office with Bobby Roode. I did that on purpose. I didn't want to mention him, but in the segment, basically the gist was Finn walked in all smiling and happy, and Bobby Roode couldn't Bobby Roode was in the middle of arguing with Nova and Jada, so Finn sort of backed away, sort of nodded to himself because he couldn't get the attention of Bobby Roode. But we cut backstage, and Raw's mid-card, I guess lower mid-card scene, has been laid out. They're all just found, sprawled out, laid out backstage. Bobby Roode is rushing around, having a look. He goes, "Oh my god, what the hell happened here? What the hell happened here? Who did this?" And then, he just looks down the hallway, and there in the shadows is the demon staring back at him. And the demon vanishes into the darkness. And Bobby Roode sort of looks around at his roster laid out on the floor. And he goes, "That son of a bitch, Finn! Oh, I'm gonna deal with him. I'm gonna deal with him next week." AAHO. Yeah, pretty good episode of Raw. Hopefully it won't be as long between the next ones. So I do want to need to, I guess, not just want to, but also need to start smashing them out more frequently. But yes, it's time to move on to Velocity. That might be the first time in history that I've said Velocity instead of Heat. Because I always say Heat instead of Velocity. But that might be the first time ever that I accidentally called Heat Velocity. Huge. Heat kicks off with a 6-woman tag team match. It is the Learning Tree trio, Morgan Daniels, Zeta Steele, and Kaya Saint, who defeat 3 local talents, Ashley Vox, Paris Van Dale, and Brenda Kingman in 7 minutes and 17. Morgan pinning Paris Van Dale with a buttered toast. 23 for Kaya Saint, 36 for Zeta, 72 for Morgan, 37 for Ashley Vox, 16 for Paris, and an 18 for Brenda. Apparently Ashley Vox and Paris Van Dale were rusty. And Brenda Kingman. So that's my lesson learned. I shall use developmental girls next time to have local talent. I was trying to be cute, but I guess I won't do that in the future. After the match, Morgan takes the mic, and she goes, "The Learning Tree has had a rough few months. It's starting to feel like we have been forgotten. People have been saying that we made the wrong choice and that staying with that stupid red and black university was the best choice for our careers. That's not the case. We are just getting started. If the Learning Tree has been chopped down, consider this the new seeds. Because we are under the tutorship of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. That's so much better than the rest of those girls being tutored by a loser professor who never did a damn thing in this industry. So enjoy your university, enjoy your lectures under Andre Chase. We're gonna start winning and start showing the world that anybody associated with Chris Jericho and the Jericho orbit is better for it." A tag team match. It is the Blonde Barbies, Amory and Mariah May, defeating Sol, Ruca, and Zoe Stark in tag team action. Mariah pinning Sol in 7 minutes 35. 71 for Amory, 59 for Mariah, 61 for Zoe, and a 65 for Sol. So yeah, but getting Mariah, she's got that singles match with Alexa Bliss on Raw next week, so she needs to get a win under her belt. Hopefully maybe that momentum will carry her to a victory against Alexa. Who knows? We then see our good friend Alicia Sanford backstage, and she's talking about it's been a big night for the women's division so far. The women's Intercontinental Challenge is shaping up. We've got Becky Lynch, Lara Valkyria, Bianca Belair, and Bayley, and then Ren Sinclair slides in. She goes, Do you mind if I take it from here, Alicia? She goes, sure. She goes, hi, Ren Sinclair. You might have remembered me from last week's Monday Night Raw where I did the interrogation of Nova Nebula, Roxy, and Cora. And that didn't go so well. But I'm here to redeem myself tonight. I've made it my mission to get to the bottom of the identity of this woman who will be in the Battle Royal next week. And I don't know if you noticed, we know 9 participants in the match. It's going to be Nova, Cora, Roxy, Jada, Mackie, Tiffany, Tatum, Piper, and Tegan. That's 9 names. There's 10 in this match. I need to know who the last person in that match is going to be. So I'm going to ask around, hey, Tatum. And Tatum sort of like walks up and goes, yes. Do you know who's going to be the 10th participant in the Battle Royal next week? And Tatum just laughs and goes, it doesn't matter who it is. Because it's just another woman who's going to get in my way. That championship is mine. It needs to be mine. It will be mine. You could bring anybody out there and there's nobody that will stop me from winning that championship. Nobody. Because I've never loved anybody or nobody's ever loved me quite like I love that championship. It needs me. We need to be together. So bring your best next week. Because I sure will. And she walks off and Ren goes, I mean, she's sort of hyping herself up right there, but that didn't really get me any closer to figuring out who it's going to be. So stay tuned to the socials. x.com/RenSinclairWWE. Same on Instagram. And maybe we'll have a breakthrough in the middle of the week. 69. Nice. Just a calm little heat mid-card match. Shotzi defeats Indy Hartwell with a Friday night in 9 minutes and 10. 64 for Shotzi, 66 for Indy. Shotzi just getting a nice win. Dakota sort of unneedlessly went hard on her on SmackDown. So, yeah, Shotzi Nation need a nice reaffirming win that all will be okay. And she won't keep getting bullied by, beloved fan favorites. I may think it's a 67. I probably knew that was going to be a weaker Heat main event because Mako is not super over. But, it's the story. It's fine. Ivy Nile defeats Mako Satomura in 13:56. 65 for Ivy, 63 for Mako. So, of course, Ivy, been beefing with Aoi Maikawa recently, has submitted her mentor here tonight. After the match, Ivy leaves the Dragon Sleep or whatever is locked in on Mako. She goes, I'm going to make you retire early. I'm going to make you retire early. Is this your hero, Aoi? Is this your hero? And then she does run out when she goes to kick Ivy Nile in the head, but Ivy ducks. And she accidentally hits Mako Satomura. And of course, then while Ivy is checking on, or Aoi is checking on Mako on the floor, Ivy sneaks up behind. She locks in the Dragon Sleeper and she chokes out Aoi as well. So yeah, big Ivy Nile standing tall. A big night for her. There's this little Heat feud has been done her a world of good, I think. But yes, she stands tall to close Heat. 66 rated show. Sure, it's Heat. Nobody really cares. Well, that's always what you thought of the show. Mainly of Raw. Not that you don't care about Heat as a show. I mean, we don't care about the rating of Heat because it's a B show. It doesn't affect my popularity. Obviously, I hope you care about Heat. There's some fun stuff going on here. Ren Sinclair is over here. What more do you need? But yes, I'll see you next time for ECW. They'll also hold. I've only just realised I'm doing 2 battle royals. ECW will also hold a battle royal to find out who will win their shot in the Iron Survivor Challenge for the men's side. See you then.